Philly travels to Charlotte to take on Carolina for Thursday Night Football. Thanks for watching. Brock Page here, and I do random sports picks for fun. Philly's catching 3 on the road with the total at 45 points. The Eagles will be also catching some positive money line odds when they're released. And at the moment, 53% of the betting public has action on Carolina. When it's all said and done, I'd have to imagine we'll see a closing number right around 3 points by Thursday. This is a pretty sharp opening line in my opinion. The big question is, who's going to cover? Well, both teams have been solid against the number on the year. They're both 3-2 against the spread and 4-1 in the outright game. I'm tending to lean toward Philly when it comes to number, and here's why. The Birds have covered 2 of 3 on the road this year with marquee covers over the likes of the Redskins and the Chargers. They're going up against a Panthers squad who's a winless 0-2 against the points at home. Carolina's also covered just 1 of 3 games as the official Vegas favorite. And both trends combined, this Carolina ball club is a winless 0-2 against the spread as the official home favorite. Now, before yesterday's action in Detroit, the Carolina Panthers had also failed to cover the spread in 2 of their previous 3 matchups. One of those failures came by way of a 21-point blowout loss to the sloppy Saints. Now, scoring-wise, Carolina's last 3 have all gone over the posted total. They're also giving up nearly 30 points a game in their last 3. Meanwhile, similar story for the Birds, as the Eagles are 2-1 to the overs themselves. The majority of their game's points are coming from the offensive side of the ball. The Eagles are averaging 29 points a game in their last 3 themselves. I think we're going to be taking sides with the betting public when it comes to the total here. I really see that closing number finishing at about 47.5 points. That said, I'm loving that over-under at a cool 45 points. It's only going to get bigger, so I'm taking action on it now. All told, I like the Philadelphia Eagles catching 3 and winning it outright with the over 45 in this one. Next game, New England laying 10 at the Jets with the total at an even 47. This will be an interesting matchup and certainly a different story than last year. All the Pats did was cover in the 2016 season, but now we see them at just 2-3 against the spread overall. They're stacking up against a Jets team who is not only 3-2 in the outright game, but they've also covered 3 of 5 games overall. Who'd have thunk that one? Now, even better, this Jets ball club is a perfect 2-0 against the number at home this year. In addition to going 2-0 covering as the official home underdog as well, this Jets squad has marquee covers over the likes of Jacksonville, Miami, and Cleveland. They're going up against a Patriots organization who, like I said, has covered just 2 of 5 games so far on the year. Conversely, this Patriots team covered just 2 of 5 games as the official Vegas favorite. And if you're a totals guy, the Patriots are 0-2 against the number in their games at the current posted total. Now, prior to Thursday's win in Tampa Bay, New England failed to cover in 3 of their previous 4 games. All in all, I'm really leaning toward New York to cover double digits here. I'm really curious as to where the public money is going to fall. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up right around 10 points at the closing number. Pats have underachieved. Jets have overachieved. Time will only tell. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this matchup, keep in mind that Jets games are 2-1 to the unders in their last 3. And New England's coming fresh off a solid defensive effort last week themselves. I have no speculation on where the money's going to go on the total. This is a really tough matchup to project where the money's going to go. But I am favoring the under bettors in this contest. All told, I like the Jets plus 10, New England to win it outright, and the under 47 points. Next game, Miami catching 9 points at the Atlanta Falcons. Totals at 48. Don't know what to say about this one. This is another tough game. It's another one of those games that's going to be tough to pick. Both teams are 2-2 against the spread overall and 1-1 overall in their last 2 games outright. Atlanta's covered 1 of 2 at home and 2 of 4 as the favorite. They have marquee covers over the likes of Detroit and Green Bay. They're also 2-1 against the number in their last 3. Now, on the other side, the Dolphins themselves are probably the worst 2-2 team I've ever seen, but regardless, they're still very much alive in that AFC East thus far. When it comes to the number, though, Miami's covered just 1 of 3 on the road and failed to cover 2 of their last 3 matchups. Even worse, those failure to covers came at the hands of the Saints and the Jets. All told, I think 9 points is really steep delay here, but this is a pick show, so I got to take a side. I guess I like the Atlanta Falcons -9 getting the job done. And total-wise, in this matchup, I don't really know where it's going. Dolphins games are 0-4 to the overs so far on the season. They're literally averaging just 27 total combined points per contest. That's total, both teams. The Fins themselves are averaging just 10 points of scoring per game. Meanwhile, on the other side, Falcons games are just 2-2 to the overs on the year themselves. Like I insinuated before, I have no idea what direction the public money is going to move this number. What I do know is that I'm leaning toward the under in this one. All told, I like Atlanta -9 and winning it outright with the under 48. Next matchup, Niners catching 10 at the Skins. No posted total in this game as of yet. Niners have been a solid covering team on the year, going 3-2 overall against the number. They're also 2-1 against the spread on the road and 3-2 as the dog. In addition to going 2-1 covering as the official road underdog, the Niners have marquee covers over Seattle and the Rams. They're going up against a Washington team who's just 2-2 against the number overall. To their credit, they did fail to cover against the likes of KC in Philadelphia. But regardless, they were catching points in both of those matchups. This time, they're laying double digits. Now, when it comes to the scoring, we've seen a good mixture of overs more recently. Both teams are 2-1 to the overs in their last 3. Washington's averaging 25 points of scoring in those contests. Niner games have surprisingly seen a good amount of scoring in their last 3 as well. San Fran's averaging 26 points of scoring themselves, while giving up an average of 28 points per contest in those 3. All told, I like a combined total of around 46 total combined points between these two teams. That number itself is going to serve as my pick on the total relative to the opening line. So all said and done, I like San Fran +10 with Washington winning it outright and a total of 46 total combined points. All right, folks, next and final game. Detroit laying 3 at New Orleans with a total at an even 51. Detroit should be laying some favorable money line odds in this one when they open up. You won't have to pay too much juice at the moment. But currently, 67% of the betting public does have action on the Lions. So look for those lines to move in favor of Saints bettors. I do think we'll probably end up with a closing number of around 5 to 6 points. I think if you're a Saints bettor, there's no real sense of urgency to lock it up early. I think that number is only going to move into your favor. It may be all for naught, however, if you're betting sides and leaning towards New Orleans. They've covered just 2 of 4 overall in the year so far. The Saints are also 0-1 against the number at home and failed to cover 2 of their previous 3 before last week's action against Miami. They're going up against a Lions team who's been real good against the number away from home. This Detroit ball club is a perfect 2-0 against the spread on the road this year. Equally as impressive, the Lions are covering 75% of their games as the official Vegas underdog. They're also 3-1 covering at the current posted total and a perfect 2-0 covering as the official road underdog. As you can see, I'm definitely leaning toward Detroit laying a field goal against the spread. Now, scoring-wise, 2 out of Detroit's previous 3 games actually went under the posted total before last week's action. Meanwhile, on the other side, this seemingly stingy New Orleans defense has given up just 13 points in their last 2 games. With all that in mind, the case for under bettors in this one can actually be made, and I'm going to fully agree with them. All told, I like Detroit and the under 51 in this matchup. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me for the early games part 1. I do have some more early game picks coming out, and probably tomorrow or a few days. But before I get out of here for this video, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. For some reason, you decide to use the free information on this program. You're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.